All right, we are back live. We are live here in the Tri 5 Talk. And this week we have Scott Taylor with us. Scott, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Man, doing awesome. Thank you guys for reaching out and looking forward to talking with y'all.
All right.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Welcome, Scott.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? What got you started into racing?
My dad was huge into racing, and as a kid, that's all I ever wanted to do. In high school, we were ripping up the streets and, racing nonstop. When I was a kid walking around the racetrack, I told my best friend at the time, I said, you know what, I'm going to have a race car. And man, we just never stopped.
Awesome. So, we kind of learned things, as the show had aired and came on, you owned your own racetrack. What involvement did that have into your racing program? I mean, is that like an open free testing place, or, is there, something a little bit more?
It was good in both ways and bad in some ways. Having a racetrack, we leased it for 5 or 6 years, and I'll tell you, it was a lot of work, and it was a great place for me to be able to test, and I did benefit from that side of it. But the amount of time that it took away from my program racing, it really hurt my program trying to keep the track up and going, and all the maintenance, the groundskeeping. It was a lot of work getting a track ready to open up on Friday and Saturday and Sunday nights.
Right. I'm sure.
And then hearing all the complaints from everybody because the track wasn't good or prep wasn't this way or that way too. So
for sure, to be honest, that was one of the biggest things that was a deciding factor of why I ended up closing the place down. We were trying super hard to make it the best facility we could with the money we had, and we would still get the guys that complain nonstop on the internet, and they would bash you. And of course, they don't realize it hurts business. And then those same people that were bashing me back then are begging me to open it back up, and it's just a deal. Everybody, don't bash a racetrack, because you won't be happy when it's gone. So even if I have a bad experience at a racetrack, you won't ever find me bashing a racetrack.
Well, and that's a good thing to, live by, is, not to bash a racetrack. Cause we've all seen it before that, tracks that get bashed, they, get closed down, and it doesn't happen anymore. That's why we're missing so many tracks.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit, how did everything get started when you got involved with the New Orleans street racing group? Was it just kind of like you got a phone call from Kai and says, hey, let's get a race together, we're going to go race Oklahoma? Or was it like we already had a team put together, and then you got a phone call and says, hey, we want everybody to come?
It's a long story, but to shorten it up, me and Kai we met. He bought a trailer from me, and we started talking, and then next thing you know, me and Kai were grudge racing each other out at Hub City Dragway. We were going back and forth. We both had IROC Camaros, and
were they both pro mods?
No, mine was a old square tube chassis. We both had just entry level cars with big motors, and we were having a good time going back and forth with the grudge racing and stuff. And Kai would call me with some questions. He's came so far. He used to call me and ask me how to adjust the valves, how to set the timing. And man, this joker is working on 959s in his garage now. So, he was a quick learner. But to answer your story, yes, we were already racing. I wouldn't call it a team. We were racing against each other. And he got a phone call, and he went out and won some races, and then he called me to join up with him, and that's how our team got started as an actual team.
Right. Awesome. That is awesome. So
y'all seem kind of like y'all, very humble. At least you do. You seem like you're very humble and kind of know how the upbringing is, and it just seems, some people are just a little bit more. I don't know if that's the TV part of it or it's just the attitude. I know I see some of you guys out at the tracks where I'm at, and it's like a whole different side of you. Most of the time it's just like you're just nobody when there's no cameras around or fans around. You're out there just doing your thing. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a kid growing up, I've always tried to go with what my dad told me. Try to treat people like you want to be treated, and if you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. And I've tried to live by that. And every now and then, with some of the drama on the show, I get drawn into it, and I do my absolute best to stay away from the drama and just try to let the race car do the talking. I mean, I'm as competitive as a person as you'll ever find, but usually I'm just looking for a fair race and try to see how I stack up against everybody else.
Right. Now that kind of with trying to stay out of the, the negativity and all that stuff, I've kind of noticed that there's something a little bit different about you, and I kind of think that I can tell that you're a man of faith. How does, faith play into all the, the reality TV being on there and trying to keep, emotions in check,
I think it would be tough to do it if you wasn't a believer. And I tell you, that's I look, I look and pray often, daily, trying to get the guidance that I need to stay, calm and humble. And thankfully, I've been able to do okay at it. But I'm always looking for a way to, share the word. And like I say, we all make mistakes, and I'm definitely not perfect by any means, but I try to, live right and set the right example for young children and stuff like that. I mean, it's tough in the racing world, but we really try to stay on the right path.
Cool.
I remember some of the Texas guys here and teamed up with you guys as well when that, the flood down in Houston, and everybody was taking, water and whatever down there. And, that just shows compassion and shows, to help your fellow man, woman, and child. That's a lot of people don't do that.
Absolutely. And, I always look for a sign that, when it's my time to help. And, sometimes it comes to me, it's just, and when it comes to me, I try to do it, and we often, myself, I pray, for things to be able to do to help people. And when it comes to you, that's the things you do,
That is awesome. That is awesome. So now let's kind of get back. Go ahead, Joe.
Are there any big, I said, oh, sorry. No, I was just saying, is there anybody on the show that's maybe a surprising person that's a faith person that we probably wouldn't see on the show, or is that something you'd even say, or most of them, yes, or more than others, or?
I mean, I believe most of the guys, are definitely, I would say the majority are definitely Christians. And I think some of the guys are a lot better people than they get portrayed on the show. Man, as a whole, the group is really good. There's always a few bad apples, but even the bad apples, sometimes surprise me by doing the right thing. I won't mention any names, but just the other day, I try not to think negatively about anyone, but somebody that I see doing the wrong thing a lot, and then I saw on Facebook where they helped somebody out that was in need, just with a huge donation, and just helped them. And I said, if the Lord speaks to you and he helps somebody, it just, a lot of people are better than what they get portrayed, I guess.
Well, and that's awesome to find out that there's more, believers out there in the racing, and doing this. So, now let's kind of shift gears back to the cars and whatnot. What's the big differences between, John Doe and Track Doe?
You talking about the Firebird or the new car for us, Track Doe?
Well, I mean, which one are we going to see this year?
Well, this year we actually got rid of the old car we called Track Doe, but the name stayed with the new car. So the 2020 Camaro, 2021, whatever you want to call it, the new Camaro that we have, we're calling it Track Doe as well.
Okay.
And I would say some of the major difference between it and John Doe is a mild steel chassis, built in the late 80s, early 90s.
Old pro stock car?
No, it was it sort of looks like an old Warren Johnson Pro Stock car.
Yep, that does.
I wish it was, but it was an a car that was built on a dirt floor, that's mild steel, and just a home built car that has really done a great job. And the guy that built it at home done a fantastic job, but it's just an old mild steel car that we've updated. Track Doe was built by Wally Stroop, and he done a fantastic job. The car has the latest and greatest 4-link and, Penske shocks and fuel tech. It's got, I would say, the latest and greatest technology front to back. So I'm hoping this car is what we needed to level up the playing field.
So now looking at where things were last year with, the Pro Chargers having a big advantage. Well, I say big advantage because they had a weight advantage. But you also had to spend the things like 130% to make the power to be competitive.
Yeah, we were spinning the blowers, 74,000 RPM.
Right.
And that's, like I say, it's pretty rough on them. They're, they call that they're good for about 72,000 RPM. And sometimes when you see some failures out there, it's us. It's not necessarily the product. We're working it super hard, and we're trying to get every horsepower we can get out of these things.
Right. So with that being said, with this year, do you see any changes coming down the pipe, without giving anything away that you're not supposed to give away? Do you see anything coming down the pipe as far as, the blower cars kind of getting hammered on, or is it, everything's going to probably stay the same?
I don't think you'll see any big changes. I think you may see some small changes with some of the weights and stuff, but really and truly, the racing was pretty good. I mean, if you exclude Ryan, and I know that sounds weird, but Ryan was Pro Charger, and if you exclude him from the equation, Twin Turbo won, Nitrous won, Pro Charger won. Every combo really won a race. Ryan won obviously more than anybody because he won the championship last season. But if he would have been Twin Turbo, I think the same deal would have happened. He really excels. He does such a great job with his program. I think he could go screw blower and do just as good. So I don't necessarily think that Pro Chargers needed weight, but it's a possibility we'll get some this season.
Okay. So, looking at that, seeing what's going on in this next, previous years and everything, is there anything like that you can see that you would like to see, possibly change, in the way things go, the way things happen?
If I could get one choice on one thing that I would like to change to make things more competitive, I would probably have to go with changing it up completely and going small tire instead of big tire,
Make everybody relearn.
Yeah, I think if the whole field put 28s on, I think you'd see a lot more winners. I don't think on 28s the consistency would be there to go that fast that you would see the same winner over and over.
With 28s, do you think you would see more racers showing up to run NPK?
Possibly, but we have a full field and we have people just, knocking on the door to get in. So racers are definitely not a problem.
Okay.
Just something I like, I like 28s, and I think it would level up, I think it would take the money out of it just a little. It's still a money game no matter what you do, but that last couple hundred horsepower is pretty tough to get. And if you change tire size, down drastically, I think you'd see a lot more competitive racers. I think people that you see that are almost class fillers that finish, that you never plan on seeing win a race, those guys could be competitive on small tires.
Okay. Do you think also, since everybody's pretty much running a 36-inch tall tire, that if you went to 28, you'd have more variety of cars, out there,
Absolutely.
in the class?
Absolutely.
Where you didn't have to have them.
I think now everybody's trying to run that.
I know, just my opinion.
Yeah, Absolutely. You know, I
Yeah.
think.
I mean, to me,
Go ahead.
no, you're the guest, sir. Go ahead.
We was cutting each other off on accident. I apologize. We're you know, the 36s. I think you're definitely right. People had to pick certain cars that would fit those tires. You know, and everybody's looking to get every inch of wheelbase. Um, you know, I was torn between. I've always been a Camaro guy, but I was torn between a '67 Camaro and a new body Camaro. And my chassis guy Wally Stroop looked at me and said, "Man, the new Camaro is going to make a better race car, and it's going to hold the tire better.
Mhm.
We're not going to have to modify the quarters." And I said, let's build the new Camaro. I think I would prefer a '67, '68, or '69 Camaro, but unfortunately, like you said, the tire does become a factor.
Okay. Interesting enough, so that kind of leads to my next question was, what caused you to choose the 2020 Camaro?
Sort of like what I was just saying. Honestly, I called up and ordered from Wally Stroop 69 Camaro, and I got to thinking about it, and I was trying to build something there wasn't a lot of out there, so I counted them, and there was, I think, 369 Camaros. So I called Wally back, and we got to talking about the new body style Camaro, and I counted those, and basically Ryan was the only one with a new body Camaro at the time. So I decided to start building a new body Camaro, and of course we've definitely been criticized about it, but it's a race car that I needed to compete, and it's what our program needed, and I built it just how I wanted it. The paint scheme, the hood, the wheels, the tires, I tried to make it our car as much as possible, try to be a little bit different than everybody else.
Yeah. I kind of go back to the first seasons of NOLA, and Bobby Ducati's Maverick it just stood out. It just sat in the weeds, and it was a different car, and it was popular because it was a different car, and it was fast too. But it was just difference, and so I always like to see different cars. I mean, the type of stuff I do, it's pretty much stock rear end type stuff. So you're gonna see tons and tons of Fox bodies. There's nothing wrong with that. They're just light and right and all that. But it's neat to see a little bit of parity. Like Dean's car with a Chevelle and stuff like that. It was just neat to see other cars. And obviously different motor combinations as well. So, but and I've always thought the Cutlass 2 was an old Pro Stock, an old Warren Johnson Pro Stock car is what I thought it was at the time.
Yep, I wish it would have been, man. It's been doing great for what it is, but it's far from a nice chassis. It's just an mild steel, old school bracket car. They were running like 6.0s in the 8th mile on that thing when I bought it.
Wow.
Okay. A lot of car for 6.0s in the 8th mile for sure.
Yeah.
So who are, some of the people that, when you go to the track, you look for, like your buddies, like, I mean, who's the one that you always make sure, like, you get the truck parked, you go and you find them? I mean, is it like, do you go and look for Bobby? Do you go look for, somebody else? I mean, who's the first person you look for?
Man, there's so many good guys out there. I mean, but me and Bobby really hang out a lot. We talk a lot. So I'm definitely looking Bobby up when I get to the racetrack and make sure he's not pulling any shenanigans that I don't know about. So he's a hoot to be around.
It kind of looks like you guys pull shenanigans together, though.
Absolutely. That's why it's either together or I'm gonna get them pulled on me. So I chose to just participate.
All right, awesome. So he's one of your favorite people to go look for right away.
Absolutely. And man, there's tons of great people out there. Joe Woods, Dominator.
Right.
There's such great people out there. Tons of people. I mean, Wayne. I'm gonna say his name wrong, but he just passed.
Smozenak. Yeah.
Yeah.
He passed away. He was one of the ones I always talk to. Usually, he was one I talked to at the end of every race because we would call that the late crew. It's after the race was over, I would wake up on Sunday and you would find Joe Woods, me, and Wayne still at the racetrack with all of our stuff under our awning with nothing put up yet. So Wayne would always come by and talk. So we're going to miss him greatly. He was such a good guy, and he always had a smile on his face. And we actually just got back. We come back from Florida. We got back at 2:00 this morning, and they had it was a good deal over there. It's a bad situation, but he brought a lot of good people together, and he's definitely going to be missed.
Yeah, that definitely going to be missed seeing him on the No Prep Kings show and whatnot. So that's a definite, it's a sad moment, for the racing community as a whole.
You can kind of tell a little bit about, his, like you can tell by somebody's face if they're kind of a good person or not. He just had a good heart about himself. But tell us about people behind you. I mean, family and friends that helped Scott, when Scott's stressed out from doing interviews or signing things, or, just helps, has the glue that keeps all the things together,
Yep.
behind the scenes.
Of course, I couldn't do it without my wife, Heather. She pushes me, and she wants us to do good. And when I'm not doing good, she's the one there to keep me, motivated and keep me calm and keep me moving in the right direction. And
now, when you're doing good, is she asking for more dogs then?
Yeah, absolutely. She's, whether I'm doing good or bad, she wants more dogs. But she's a fantastic mother and wife. But she's definitely the glue that keeps my program together. And we got a lot of good guys on our team. We have a new marketing guy this year, Steve Welsh. He is blowing it out of the water. He had the channel No Prep Fam, and he is blowing it out of the water with our marketing side of Scott Taylor Motorsports. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. He has really picked our program up. And but as far as our crew, I got Mike Cameron and Triangle Speed, Craig Pashar. And we also got another gentleman, Todd Butterfield. He's been helping us this season. And Jimmy Rector's been doing our engines, man. He does a great job. He's an old alcohol funny car guy. And man, he's killing it on the engines. He does a good job. But we have a great crew that works real good together.
It's awesome. It's good to have that. It's good to have, people that you trust around your cars, and, as fast as you're going, and people you can trust, and that makes a big difference, has a little peace of mind in it for sure. Absolutely.
I'm very hands-on, but I got a couple guys that definitely I couldn't do it without.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that you got a good crew behind you and got a good team. And now, how did you come up with, obviously John Doe, we all kind of understand John Doe, somebody dead, but what brought you to naming the car John Doe?
John Doe was, we were testing the car. We only had 7 days. There's actually a video about this on YouTube, but to shorten it up, we had 7 days to test and get ready for a street race. So we built the car, we bought the car, and then we bought an engine and bought a transmission all in 1 week and put the car together. And the very first pass, this thing went 300 foot, on the street doing a wheelie. And I looked at a buddy of mine, Thomas Mengele, and said, we got to talk back and forth, and said, this thing is going to be like a John Doe. Nobody knows who we are until we get there, and then it's going to be bad. That's where
awesome. I think one of your favorite comments I always liked, they were doing some kind of interview with you, and you said, there's 2 things I can do: eat and drive a race car. I laughed.
Yeah, I definitely struggle.
Say again, Joey, you're cutting out.
No, I was waiting on Scott.
I'm sorry.
We lose him?
I didn't hear you, Joe.
You got to repeat it, Joey. You were cutting in and out.
No, I was just saying, yeah. I was saying one of the favorite quotes you were saying is they ask you something and you go, well, there's 2 things I can do, and that's eat and drive a race car. And I always giggled at that part of it, But you drive a good race car for sure.
I can eat good too. I definitely.
you're down there in Louisiana. I mean, you got crawdads, you got, all the good food. I mean, oh man, we did a crawdad boil once here at home here in Nebraska after a buddy came home from a sale in Louisiana. Man, that was the best meal I ever had.
So tell us a little bit, like I have, you know him as well, Marty Stinnett, he's a racer too, and he has a towing business, and you're a racer and you have a towing business. So I mean, that's just is there a lot of late nights with that? Is there a lot of, my dad was an auto mechanic and had a record, and I remember being on call with him as a kid, and oh my God, you'd be out late at night and picking this up, and sometimes you'd come across some bad accidents. But tell us a little bit how you got into towing and how that is.
I had a rental business, and we started the towing business on the side, and we needed tow trucks to move the rental equipment around. And it was a lot easier to load them on a trailer, just load them on a rollback and deliver them to the job sites. And one of my cousins was in this, but we have, 3 different companies on the rotations and stuff now. So we definitely have a lot going on and stay busy, but I couldn't do it without a really good crew there too. I got a gentleman that manages our store for us, all 3 companies. And then we got 2 other guys that do a fantastic job, driving the trucks and keeping things going when I'm not here. So they definitely put in work 24/7 with these wreckers. And, when I'm not racing, I'm constantly, coming back, and they stay so busy, they can use as much help as they get. So definitely, have to step in sometimes and help a little bit here and there. But they do really good, and keep it going while I'm gone.
So if we're lucky and we happen to break down in your neck of the woods, we might happen to get a tow from Scott Taylor himself.
Absolutely. I've had people that are super shocked when I get out of the truck, and they're like, "No way!" And even some of the officers be like, "Man, what's going on?" They never expect to see me for sure, because I stay out of town so much. But when I actually go work a call, they're usually shocked.
Undercover Boss. There's your new TV show.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Well, I don't mean to cut our show short this week, but Scott has some prior engagements that he needs to get off to. So, Scott, I got a couple final questions in parting, and then we'll let you go. Scott, if you had a Tri-5, would it be a 5, 6, or a 7?
I would think a 7.
Okay. And why would you want a 57?
That's just I think that's always been one of my favorites. And I've actually recently been looking for one. So if you see one out there, looking for one that I can sort of build and make my own. I'm not looking for one that's ready to go. I can't really afford that, but one that needs a little bit of work, a good fixer upper. I know they're hard to find, but I would love that for me and my family to be able to cruise around.
Okay, cool. And then, would it be a post or a hardtop?
Have to be a post.
Okay. Post just because, the racer in you says, "Hey, I want that extra post for the rigidity."
Man, I know it's a little different, but I actually just like the way it looks, and that's the one I've always wanted.
Okay, cool. So that's about it for this week.
Well,
and
I got 2 more small ones. So when you're off of racing, what makes Scott Taylor happy? Is it fishing? Is it cooking? I mean, what are some things that you like to do when work's not around and racing's not around? What makes you look forward to?
I would say the pretty normal things that you mentioned, really. I know that's pretty basic, but definitely love fishing and hunting and like camping. My wife loves camping and just going to the creek and hanging out and just cooking and hanging out with the family. That's my favorite thing to do. And I wish I could get to do it a little bit more, but it is, it's tough right now. We're super busy with the racing, but every chance we get, we hook to the camper and try to get down to the creek and hang out with the family.
Nice.
And then favorite power adder, nitrous, blower, turbos.
You didn't mention Pro Charger, but definitely Pro Charger.
Pro Charger, blowers, yeah. Yep.
That was a trick question.
Well, he roundaboutted it. I mean, he lumped screw blowers and Pro Charger blowers into the same thing. I mean,
no.
Driven.
I'm just teasing. Now, Pro Charger's definitely my favorite combo so far. I've had twin turbo, big nitrous motors, and I'm definitely a nitrous guy. And but the Pro Chargers are so user friendly, and they seem to be a little bit easier to tune and stuff. But I definitely like the Pro Chargers.
all right. Awesome. Well, I really want to thank Scott for joining us this week. I want to thank Joey for being out there, being here helping as well. We missed Craig and Joe this week. They were off. So anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. And that concludes this episode. Thanks for being here. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Try 5 Talk with your hosts Daniel Check, Craig Westfenning, Joey Truelove, and a special thank you for our background designer Chad Reynolds, and a special thank you as well for our production analyst Joe Miller. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you next time.